Now, the fitness tracking app Strava is reviewing its features after it appeared to expose sensitive information about the locations of military bases and soldiers around the world. Strava's global heat map publishes every public activity uploaded to the app over its history. But observers have now realised its potential to inadvertently reveal sensitive location patterns of security forces. So what are we to make of this story? And in this digital age, do we all give information away too freely? We spoke to Bill Buchanan, a professor in the School of Computing at Edinburgh Napier University. Professor Buchanan, is this really a cyber threat, do you think, the Strava episode?
I think it is. I think we're moving into what's called an information age, and we leave a digital footprint behind us in virtually everything that we do. On social media, every time we post something on Facebook and Twitter, we can really be tracked. And we've got to worry that companies like Google and Apple and Facebook are really mining our data. In terms of a cyber security threat, obviously our highest risks are our military forces. If adversaries were to find out where they were based, what their activities were, then they put lives at risks.
Is there a responsibility on, I suppose, first of all, the soldiers themselves, but also Strava, to keep that information secure?
There is. So really there needs to be a risk assessment on any data that's used around the military. And I'm really quite surprised that it hasn't happened in this case. It's well known that the military is increasingly using data around the battlefield. They will use Facebook and social media to be able to track their adversaries. So it's obvious that they've got to watch about their own footprint. So we really need to understand really how the data is actually used and make some sort of risk assessment. When it comes to the company themselves, then probably they should have went for a privacy by default. So there shouldn't have been any hunting around for privacy settings to be able to define where you didn't want to be tracked. So it is possible on this site and with this app to actually stop you from being tracked in certain areas, but you've really got to dig around. So I think with regulations and directives such as GDPR coming along, we'll see a much more of a focus around user privacy.
Given the age in which we live, digital, online, so much of it there, do we really maybe just have to accept that our privacy doesn't really exist anymore?
No, I don't think we should. We are being offered free services within the cloud, email, search facilities and so on, but unfortunately there are so many companies who are mining our data. So if that's acceptable, then the citizens should have some benefit given back to them, such as financial payments when their data is actually sold on to others. I think the terms and conditions often are very confusing, they're long-winded, and it's very difficult for you to mine down and actually find out what these cloud providers are actually using your data for.
So what can people do to protect themselves?
What they can do to protect themselves is really understand the digital footprint, to know that things that they post online could come back in the future in some way against them. They need to understand that your mobile phone is a tracking device. It's sending GPS coordinates all the time. So there are a whole host of companies who are mining that data. But everything that we do on the internet could possibly be tracked at some time. So we need to understand how we can set ourselves up to minimise our digital footprint.
Professor Buchanan, thanks for joining us in Scotland tonight.
Thank you.